here's what we're going to do today. You know, when I get to this point, or at this point in the game for me, the days of spending an hour and a half to 2 hours in the gym, doing anywhere from 25 to 35 sets of 4 or 5 different types of exercises, just with one body part. I don't really need to do that anymore. And so this whole past week, the last 2 routines I did were basically an arm routine and a shoulder routine. So technically, in my rotation, I'm back to some kind of leg routine or leg workout. Today, though, I thought, every once in a while, because just about any lifting, as long as it's done intensely, is beneficial. But what I'm going to do is probably blend a chest movement with a back movement and a leg movement. A chest, a back, and a leg. It might even be chest, back, leg, and calf. Because I try with my routines, because of the difficulty of and the deficiency in not working your calves and your abdominals more often than everything else. I mean, everything else more or less is a once a week. It's hit once a week, one time a week intensely, and it's staggered so that it's 2 upper body routines and a lower body routine. 2 upper body, lower body. There used to be a time when my leg size, in my opinion, was much more diminished than it is now, and I needed some growth. I needed to spur growth. What I was doing was flipping upper lower, and just doing an upper body routine and lower body routine, an upper body routine and lower body routine. But what I did with the leg routines, because training like that, consistently, is going to lead to overtraining. So what I needed to do, or what I did, was I made one of the leg routines what I call the heavy routine, and the other routine the light routine. So the one routine, the heavy one, would focus on core movements like squatting, heavier leg press. There was isolation in it, but the focus was not on isolation, whereas at the light routine, that's all it was. It was some walking lunges, leg extensions, leg curls, the sissy squat. I don't know if you've ever seen a sissy squat. I mean, done with this thing right here. What it amounts to is, I don't think I can do it, but in a gym, if you've ever seen that thing on the floor that basically is just 2 bars and then a pad that goes on your calves, and you basically stand in it. What you're supposed to do really is sort of sit back. I would grab weight and you just really pretend as if you're sitting down in a chair, but of course there's no chair behind you. So how far you go back and how you control that movement is what controls how much you get from it. But it was really a quad exercise, an isolated quad exercise, and a good one. I don't have one of them here, unfortunately, or I'd show you what it was. But like I said, if everybody's consumed with, most of the time, I see so many people, guys in particular, because I don't know that I've ever seen a woman do this, carry a little notebook around, writing down everything, every set, every rep, weight, that they did, which is great, I guess, if you want a journal or a diary that you're going to then reprint for other people, assuming that you can show that you benefited, that there were any results at all from this routine that you carefully recorded on a piece of paper. But the fact of the matter is, and the way I see it, is that the only reason you would record stuff on paper is for posterity, but also potentially to track, incremental progress in the amount of weight that you're lifting. So if you're a power lifter and you're trying to add 10 pounds to your bench or something like that, then it might be important to track what it is that you're doing. I'm sorry, it's hard to it's hard to really rationalize going to all that trouble. You know, it's a waste of time to be in the gym and sit there after you've done your set. You know, when really you should be focusing on you know, catching your breath and sort of reorienting yourself and letting yourself briefly recover before you hit into the next set. You know, not sitting on the bench writing in a notebook. Anyway, I guess you kind of get my point. And where that all started was Mike Menser had a program that he was pushing back in, you know, the 80s and 90s that I can't remember the name of it. I wish I could, but what it involved was basically doing, you know, one set to failure. I mean, that's what it amounted to. It was doing, you know, to work out and really only making yourself do one enormous set to failure. And that would work probably. It's not something that I would promote because I don't think it's enough. I mean, I don't think, you know, I don't know that you could get your full potential as a, you know, as a person trying to transform your body just doing one set, but it's possible. Need to be something that need to be tested, obviously, but Mike Menser did very well, and if he was using that particular strategy, then it obviously does work. However, when I'm doing my routines always involve progressive resistance. I always, you know, my purpose is increasing the amount of stress on the muscle, but not doing it in a way that conforms, you know, to a specific number or a specific, you know, single goal. In other words, you know, this set I'm going to pick this weight up and I'm just going to do it 15 times and I'm going to sit it down. Because if I picked it up and I'm involved in what I would call working sets, I mean, I'm working out. I'm not really warming up anymore. You know, I'm not just to, you know, just trying to establish a baseline and you know, let my muscles know I'm about to lift weight. Every other set, every working set beyond that warm-up is, you know, really, I do them to what I call failure. Now, it's not, you know, there are a number of, I guess, or a couple of different ways you could describe failure in weightlifting, but you know, absolute failure is when there's just, you know, if you were to attempt to drop a bench press down one more set and the thing's just going to sit on your chest, that's failure. If you unaided cannot push that weight back off your chest, you know, then you have pushed yourself to failure. But if you are just getting worn out, in other words, you set a goal of 15 reps and you get to the 15 and you could probably do 5 more, then that's not the kind of set that I do when I work out. My sets typically involve pushing to that point where even though most of the time I have no spotter, I mean, I'm not working with anyone or training with anyone. I do, or have trained with my wife, and have had training partners, but most of the time now, it's just me by myself. So you have to be careful when you get... Okay. Now leg extension. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if I have too much. Oh, this thing is cold. Oh, it's better if you can use this equipment one leg at a time, one arm at a time, unilaterally, because it evens things out. Oops. Ah. It's early and I am stiff. I've been training all week. Okay. First. So anyway, that's the second half. The seated row, another press, except we're just going from a flat to an incline, and then we change the leg machine from an extension to a curl, or hamstrings, and back over, finish with the calf raise, and that's the second half of the circuit. So let's get started on that. Okay, so I haven't really tested this weight yet, so I don't know whether it's too little or too much. I'm sure it's not too much. But who we're gonna start with seated row, and I've got the close grip handle on it as opposed to wide grip because I don't really want to work my outer lats. I mean, my rear delts and upper back so much as I want to try and target the lower back a little bit. Anyway. Good enough. Well, my shorts are shredding.